Hello, welcome again to this particular session. So after having what we call covered of two concepts, now we are moving over to the third one. And in this particular concept, we will see a case when there is simultaneous bonus issue to fully paid shares and of course to make the partly paid up shares fully paid. So what will be the accounting pattern under such situation? We need to take that into account. So ready? Then fine. So now in this particular session, we are going to pick up a case where we'll find out simultaneous situation. That is, in this particular question, simultaneously we will see actually company is issuing, or should I say offering, bonus shares, both to fully paid shares and also what we call bonus to make the partly paid up shares as fully paid, correct? So here the concept number, now we are picking up concept number 3. So let me write first of all concept number 3. Concept number 3. Bonus, simultaneous case of simultaneous bonus issue to fully paid shares and bonus to make partly paid up shares, as fully paid. Correct. Now we pick up this question, and for the same I will have to actually frame out our demonstration. Let me pick up the pen. Actually my pen is lying over here, so here I pick this one. Right here along with me, balance sheet of 003 Limited. Balance sheet of 003 Limited. In the balance sheet, shareholder funds, A, share capital, right, equity share capital, 5,000 shares of rupees 100 each, $80 paid up. 80 paid up. Correct. So in the outer column we shall write 4 lakh 5,000 into 80. Share capital is partly paid up, no doubt about that. Then we have in this case reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus. Right along with me, general reserve. Let us say general reserve is 1 lakh. Profit and loss account 4 lakhs. Security premium 1 lakh. I write in bracket rupees 20,000 on shares issued to vendors. Issued to vendors against purchase of fixed assets. I need not require to actually tell you what does it mean. It means out of 1,20,000 worth of what we call security premium is not realized in cash. Then capital redemption reserve 1 lakh. Then capital reserve rupees 50,000 on account of appreciation in land and building, and in the outer column let us say it is 1 lakh. So that means out of 1 lakh worth of capital reserve which is appearing in the balance sheet, 50,000 is due to appreciation in land and building. Indirectly it means actually that 50,000 worth of capital reserve is not realized in cash, so that you cannot use for the purpose of bonus issue. Then to non-current liability, let us say 5 lakhs, current liability 5 lakhs. Correct? So what will be the total? Total is 5, 9, 10, 12 and 10. That is equal to 22 lakhs. So total is equal to 22 lakhs. Correct? And assets. Asset side, right here, 1. Non-current assets, 12 lakhs. Current assets, 10 lakhs. So total is equal to 22 lakh. Not many items as far as asset side is concerned, correct? So this is your balance sheet. So once you have a look over the balance sheet, further we go now, correct? Now I write on this date, directors of the company, on this date, directors of the company decide A, to make the shares fully paid without making the shareholders to pay for the same. So this is bonus to make the partly paid up shares as fully paid, because company has decided that we are going to make the shares fully paid and we are not going to charge anything from the shareholders. Also, to make a bonus issue, in the ratio of 4 shares for 5 shares. 4 shares for 5 shares means bonus issue is in the ratio of 4:5. Now the important point is that in this question ratio is given, and just some sessions ago I told you that whenever in the question, actually whenever the bonus ratio would be given to you, it automatically means it is bonus to fully paid shares. But the problem is that in this question we can see over here that our share capital is not fully paid. Now it is given in the question in point number A that company's director have already decided that they are going to make the first of all shares as fully paid by offering them a bonus. That means they need not require to pay for the uncalled amount. So this is the first situation, signifies that it is a case of bonus to make the partly paid up shares as fully paid. And by now we are very well familiar with the fact that whenever such sort of bonus is made, we can use only revenue reserve. While second type of bonus issue of course relates to bonus to fully paid shares. So how to actually then solve this particular question? First of all, see here, calculation of bonus amount. To make the shares fully paid. To make the shares fully paid. So first of all, we are computing the amount of bonus for the first type of bonus issue. So in this case, what we need to have, we need to know actually the number of shares, which is 5,000, and we need to know the uncalled amount, which is 20. So we can say that bonus amount for the purpose of making the partly paid of shares as fully paid happens to be 1 lakh, isn't it or not? Now, as far as second type of bonus issue is concerned, bonus calculations for point number 2, calculation of bonus amount calculation of bonus amount for fully paid shares. Now in this case, what will be the amount of bonus? Just pay attention over here. Number of shares we will take into account. Number of shares happens to be 5,000, isn't it or not? Then we take into account the bonus ratio. Bonus ratio happens to be 4:5, which means if you are having 5 shares, company is going to offer you 4 shares. Then we will compute the bonus shares. How many shares company shall have to issue as bonus? That is total number of share 5,000. We'll divide it by 5. For every 5 share, company is offering 4 shares. So all in all, company will have to offer 4,000 shares as bonus shares. Now we are going to multiply it with the issue price. Now issue price will be 100. The reason being is that prior to this bonus, company has made the shares as fully paid. So now my 1 share of 80 has become a share of rupees 100. So bonus amount will be equal to 4 lakh. So second type of bonus issue will need utilization of reserve to the extent of 4 lakh, while first type of bonus issue shall need what we call utilization of reserves to the extent of 1 lakh, isn't it or not? So now all we need to do is to pass the entry. So that is point number C. Solution step C, journal entry. So entry number A, call money due. Call money due. Correct? We will write here share call account debit. 5,000 shares into uncalled amount 20, 1 lakh. To share capital 1 lakh. Correct? Now we will write here utilization of reserves for making partly paid up shares as fully paid. Partly paid up shares as fully paid. My entry will be, we know that when company decides to make the partly paid up shares as fully paid and without charging anything from such shareholders, then in that case, we can use only and only revenue type of reserves. Now, there are two types of revenue reserves which are appearing in our balance sheet, general reserve and profit and loss account. Since profit and loss account is having a higher figure, I am going to utilize that. I need only actually 1 lakh. So, profit and loss account debit, that is 1 lakh, to share call account. I could have passed the direct entry also. My direct entry would have been profit and loss account debit to share capital account. So these two entries are related to first type of bonus issue. Now next entry, utilization of reserves for the purpose of bonus issue to fully paid shares. Second type, this happens to be rather first type of bonus issue, bonus to fully paid up shares. By now very well we are familiar with the facts that such type of bonus issue can be what we call made by utilizing both capital nature reserve and revenue nature reserve. We have already computed the amount is 4 lakh which we need actually. So we can use capital nature reserve and revenue nature reserve, but so often I have been saying now actually that preference should be delivered to capital nature reserve. So first of all, I will look into the balance sheet. As you can see in the balance sheet, this time I have got security premium, but I cannot utilize the entire 1 lakh because 20,000 worth of security premium is such which is not realized in cash, so I can use only 80,000. So I will write here security premium account debit. Security premium account debit. Maximum I can use 80,000. Then we have capital redemption reserve. Nothing is mentioned, no information is given with respect to capital redemption reserve, so we shall presume entire amount of 1 lakh as realized in cash. Then we have another what we call capital nature reserve, that is capital reserve. Now some information is given in this case. As you can see in the balance sheet, it is given as 1 lakh, but in the bracket it is given that out of 1 lakh 50,000 worth of capital reserve has taken place, which is not realized in cash because it is due to appreciation in value of land and building. So out of 1 lakh I can utilize maximum 50,000. So capital reserve 50,000. You got my point or not? Now total 1 lakh 80 plus 50, 2 lakh 30. Still I need some more amount because total amount needed is 4 lakh and 2 lakh 30 we have already utilized. Now our capital nature reserves have exhausted, so I'm going to utilize now revenue reserve. I need 1 lakh 70,000 and in the profit and loss account there is a balance still, so I took the help of profit and loss account rather than general reserve. So profit and loss account 1 lakh 70,000. Then I am going to write here to equity share capital account. Only one entry is needed as far as bonus to fully paid up share is concerned. So as far as solution is concerned, that is over, but still if you want to prepare notes, you can prepare the notes also. D, notes on A, share capital. Suppose if I want to know what is the amount now after the bonus issue in the share capital, first of all look into the balance sheet. In the balance sheet your share capital is actually 4 lakh. Now look towards your entries. Share capital here is getting credited by 1 lakh and here it is getting credited by 4 lakh. So you add 1 lakh and you add 4 lakh. So we may say that after the bonus issue, balance in share capital now is equal to 9 lakh. 9 lakh. 9 lakh is the balance in share capital now. Similarly, we can prepare a note on reserve and surplus also. As far as reserve and surplus is concerned, one, there is general reserve. but we did not utilize general reserve at all, so still there is a balance of 1 lakh in general reserve. Then there is profit and loss account. As per the balance sheet, there is balance of 4 lakh, but we utilized P&L first here to the extent of 1 lakh and then over here to the extent of 1 lakh 70. So I will subtract 1 lakh and 1 lakh 70,000. So out of 4 lakh, 2 lakh 70,000 have been utilized. So there is still a balance of 1 lakh 30,000 in profit and loss account. Then security premium. Balance in security premium is 1 lakh, but we have utilized 80,000. So now remaining balance happens to be 20,000. Similarly, we have capital redemption reserve. There is no balance in capital redemption reserve now because in the balance sheet there was a balance of 1 lakh, but we utilized entire 1 lakh. So now there is nil balance as far as capital redemption reserve is concerned. Then as far as capital reserve is concerned, there is a balance of 1 lakh in the balance sheet. Out of that we have utilized only 50,000 and 50,000 is still remaining. So all in all, we can say after the bonus issue, as far as balance of reserve and surplus is concerned, that happens to be 2 lakh 30, 250 plus 50, that happens to be 3 lakhs. Correct? So this is the balance. Now you suppose you intend to prepare the balance sheet, you can also do so. Balance sheet if you want to. I'll prepare the balance sheet also. Balance sheet. 1. Shareholders fund. A. Share capital. In the share capital, equity share capital, as per notes, balance now is 9 lakh. Correct? Similarly, reserve and surplus. As per notes, we had just computed the amount of reserve and surplus, which came to actually how much? Where that sheet has gone. That was equal to, just wait for a while, that is equal to 3 lakh. Then we write here non-current liability. There is no change in non-current liability, that is 5 lakh. There is no change at all in current liability also. Current liability also happens to be 5 lakh. So total you can see is 22 lakh. Correct? Total is 22 lakh. And towards the asset side, one non-current asset, 12 lakhs. And then current assets, that is 10 lakhs. Total is 22 lakh. Total is 22 lakh. Is it clear to you? This is how you are going to do this particular question. Correct? Now there is a very, very important line. This is one point I want to actually clear here. Have you done this? Note it down. This is your sheet number 1, correct? And then this is your sheet number 2. And this is your sheet number 3, correct? So under the concept number 3, just pay attention. This was the original balance sheet, correct? This is the balance sheet. These are the entries actually which we wrote down over here. Now, one point I just want to make clear. In fact, this is your sheet number 1. This is the share capital. And just pay attention here. On this date, directors of the company decide to make the shares fully paid without making the shareholder to pay for the same. This line is very important, especially this particular line. Director decide to make the shares fully paid without making the shareholders to pay for the same. Suppose same question is there. Suppose same question, same balance sheet is given. Suppose. But later on, let us say question states that director decide to make the shares fully paid by making a call. Suppose if question would have stated this way around, then what would have been the difference? And rest of the things are, let us say, same. Only difference is that suppose if the question would have stated that director decide to make the shares fully paid, here it is written without making the shareholders to pay for the same. But I am telling now, I am simply changing now a little bit. If instead of these lines there would have been this way around, to make the shares fully paid by making a call, Suppose if this line would have been written over here, then what would have been the difference? See here and try to note down this particular difference very well. You need not require to actually note down the entire solution, just pay attention. Only difference which would have taken place is that my entry in that particular case would have been like this. Share call account debit, 5,000 into 20, that is equal to 1 lakh. To share capital account, 1 lakh. If question would have stated that director decide to make the shares fully paid by making a call, so it means I am going to make the shares fully paid by charging the amount from them. So this time it means it is not a case of simultaneous bonus issue, correct? So my entry would have been bank account debit instead of reserves, bank account debit to share call account. This difference would have taken place and rest of the entries would have remained same. Only difference would have taken place in the first two entries. We wrote 3 entries in the last question, correct? First entry is same, but in the second entry we wrote reserves account, that is profit or loss account debit to share capital, because last time we make the shares fully paid without charging anything from the shareholders. So that was the reason we presumed that company is making the shares fully paid by offering a bonus. But here it is clearly, I am telling very clearly that suppose if the question would have stated this way around, that director decide to make the shares fully paid by making a call, then your first 2 entries would have been like this and rest of the entries would have been on similar pattern, correct? Still we are going to elaborate this point, no doubt about that, and in order to elaborate that particular point, we will meet you definitely then in the next session, and we will also take up that particular case where such lines will be written in the question. But just to make you what we call acquainted with such a situation, I tossed that particular point. So, okay then, we are going to hold on a meeting definitely with you in the next session. So till then, of course, as usual, it's goodbye from here.